Joining me now is the person who started this whole chain of events by pushing for McCarthy's ouster, Florida Representative Matt Gaetz. Congressman, do you regret ousting Kevin McCarthy, given that Israel is now at war with Hamas and we don't have a speaker?
Absolutely not. The United States stands with Israel. Israel has a right to defend itself, and there is no need expressed by Israel that the United States has not been able to meet. That's because we have Israel essentially on auto pay. As a consequence of legislation that was passed by Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, the administration is pre-authorized to meet any need that Israel could possibly express in this particular phase of the crisis. My expectation is that we will elect Speaker-designate Jim Jordan as House Speaker next week, and will be prepared to move forward with resolutions of support. But those are non-binding expressions of our opinion when it comes to the movement of specific materiel and the coordination on intelligence. We are pre-authorized because our relationship with Israel is that unique.
How do you think that Jordan crosses the finish line with 217 if there were 55 votes against him, as is being reported? You were there. 55 votes against him on that second ballot last night.
Well, I think it's important to understand how that math moved. Initially, there were 81 votes against Jim Jordan, and then about 30 minutes later, there were only 55 votes against Jim Jordan. So on that trajectory, he seems to be gaining a good amount of momentum. Also, it's important to note that those 55 no votes on Jordan were on a secret anonymous ballot, like in the basement of the Longworth office building. It's quite a different thing to stand on the floor of the House of Representatives and vote against the second most popular living Republican in America. I know how hard it is to stand on the floor and vote against the party's choice. I did it to extract concessions that I thought were meaningful that unfortunately the former speaker did not live up to. But my expectation is that next week we will elect Jim Jordan. Frankly, Michael, I think we probably could have done it last night, and I would have preferred that path. But Speaker Emeritus McCarthy said that he wanted Jim Jordan's family to be able to be there, his supporters to be able to be there. And I guess one thing that Kevin McCarthy and I agree on, Jim Jordan's going to be the next Speaker of the House.
You've heard the criticisms, right, from people, including in your own caucus. I think one member who said that it's a group of idiots who have led us down this path. Others say we look third worldish at a time when we need to be looking as a model for democracies around the globe. How do you respond to those who say that the whole perception of the United States and the dysfunction of Congress is what has arisen out of your ouster of Kevin McCarthy?
I find it a little ridiculous, right? Like, oh no, the world is ending because the House of Representatives isn't passing ceremonial resolutions this week. The entire United States Senate was out all week. The House of Representatives takes 7 weeks off every single year for essentially a summer vacation. There are days when all we vote on are procedural votes and post offices. So I think that the chaos narrative is a bit overplayed, particularly in the Beltway, because the lobbyists and the special interests want someone in the speakership that they totally control. They had that in Kevin McCarthy, and just because lobbyists and special interests have been disempowered by the motion to vacate doesn't mean it was the wrong decision, and it doesn't mean that, like, we're in chaos because there were 10 days when the lights were off on the House floor. We have not put our pencils down. This last week, we were getting classified briefings on the evolving situation in the Middle East. I was taking depositions of former and current Department of Justice officials as pursuant to our oversight work. So don't believe that just because there isn't floor action that somehow all of our representatives aren't working. We, in fact, are continuing the work of the Congress.